Well, as you can tell by the title of the video, I'm going to make rollers for my door in my shop. I decided to do a roller door. I found realistically that in this area it'll do best with the high winds that we have to deal with. We are in a hurricane area, so I wanted something that could handle, being blown against and not buckle in. A double door has the potential for buckling in, even if I were to peg it, but then I got to drill a hole in my slab, and I don't want to do that. So I figured a roller door would be the way to go. The door itself is about 5 inches bigger than the opening, so I have 2.5 inch overlap on both sides of the opening, so that eventually I can, pin it in as needed for storms to button down the hatches. But for this video, I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to make the rollers themselves. We're urban homesteaders, so it's not like we're without power or water or anything like that. I mean, I obviously have got power and I've got water on municipals. But I am real big on recycling whenever I can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this tubing itself. This is actually top rail for a fence, an old chain link fence. I got a while back. I did a job where I had to do a fence repair for somebody, and they said take the old stuff, so I took it. And then I got a hold of these old rubber wheels. They're solid rubber. These are off of a hand truck or like a dolly, a real light end furniture dolly. They're not very heavy. So between the pipe and those rollers, I'm going to make a set of rollers for my door. I'm not technically going to be blacksmithing because I'm not going to heat the metal up. So in all reality, this is more like tinsmithing because I am going to shape the metal, but I'm not going to heat it. So it's not blacksmithing. And then I will be doing a little bit of welding, but I'm not going to film that because I don't think this camera could handle the high intensity light, and I'm not going to do the whole welding shield photo thing because I can't. I'm not going to burn up my phone. So what you'll see is most of the work. I'm going to show you some really cool stuff. I'm going to show you how I'm going to flatten these out and how I'm going to reinforce them with just a little bit of detail in the shape. So stay tuned. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what I just did. So I flattened out that pipe, right? So I made it, basically I folded it in half. It's about 1/8 inch thick, which really isn't a whole lot of structural integrity for being a door bracket, because it's thin, so it's gonna want to wobble. So what I did was I put a ridge running down it. More than halfway. So basically the flat spot here on the bottom, that's going to be where it mounts to the door itself, within about 2 inches of this rib as well. So this will be the very top of the door here, and then a little bit further up will be dead space running up to where the bolt's going to run through to bolt the wheel on. And so as a result, this little fold that I put in this here, flies, this little fold that I put in here, actually gives this top piece some severe rigidity, because the bottom half is going to be screwed flat to the door, so that's going to have the door giving it strength. But where it floats above the door, as far as the wheel, the torque on the wheel and the weight of the door and everything, that's what that little groove is for. So now I got to make two. So you can see I left a hammered finish in it. I like that hammered finish look. I'm going to actually end up spray painting these textured black, so they look like they were forged from cast iron or steel. Okay, so here we go. This is the bracket. So basically these will get bolted on this way to my door, and then I have a nice wheel. The wheel's a little bit big for the door size, don't get me wrong. It's a bit big, but it's what I had. You know, you use what you got. The axle itself, actually, you see I put a little plastic bushing back here so that there's a little bit of play in the wheel, but it won't be metal on metal when it rubs. This axle piece came from an old beach cart. I just cut it to length and then welded a washer on the back there. You can see it's a pretty thick washer, and then just welded a washer on the back to keep the wheel from traveling. It's going to sit in the track this way, obviously. I got them both made, so now all I got to do is just paint them up. I'm going to do them black, but there you have it. Look at that. See, and then there's that reinforced ribbing, so that they're super strong at the top. You know, a lot of people, they want to bring it up and over and back to the other side here. And you don't really have to do that as long as you reinforce this side here, because that's where all your flex is going to be, is right there on that point right there just above the wood. You know, the wood will end right here, about 1 inch below this hole. And so that's going to be the flex point. So these would be nice and skookum. This is stainless steel. So boom. Door roller wheels. Okay, so here we go. These are those brackets I made. I actually made them the other day. There's that little bead I threw in there to reinforce them. You can see I got them bolted in there, and I'm sure you're like, oh wait, there's a third hole and it doesn't go to anything. Yeah, it's halfway. If you look very closely, it's halfway between the top of the door there and the bracket. And so that's water can get out of there. I don't want water to sit up here when it's on the track. I don't want water to get behind here and stay there for too terribly long. So I wanted to make sure I had like a weeping hole, basically is what that is. And then I've got the same setup here on the other side. And these actually were already painted. These were off of a latch kit for a gate. So, I mean, like I said, I recycle as much as possible. But there's the whole roller assembly on the door. I got both rollers on the door right now. And the door's all dry now. So I'm going to hang it and give her a test roll. Okay, so let's just go over what I did here real quick. If you look here, this is a 2x2 angle iron that I tack welded every 12 inches. It's actually the same stuff that I've got to cover the gable ends on my roof here. It's actually gable trim, it's commercial gable trim. And I welded an end cap on there, and then I went every 16 inches, I ran a lag bolt straight into the building. So what I ended up doing is every other lag bolt here, these ones are only 2 inches. They go through the 1.5 inches of the siding, and then they actually get about 3/4 penetration into the timber head that's here. And then every other one, these ones, These ones are 3-inch. So not only do I get the 1.5 inch through the siding, but I also get an 1.5 inch penetration into the crossbeam above. I started with the 3 and then alternated all the way down the track so that I could ensure that I had a good support, especially for high winds and whatnot. Well, so here it is. It's not the smoothest. It hits the bolts a little bit up on the top there, but it is a functionally closing door, and that's what I wanted. I could still bolt it down if I need to. I'm gonna put some latches over here that'll sit flat, and then when a hurricane comes through, I can latch them up and put a lock pin in here on both sides, at both the middle and the bottom, to give it support. But for the time being, it is, for the most part, is a solid door that that I can live with for a shop door. So that's it for this one. Basically, the door is built and painted. I got the roller track built. I've got the guides built and painted, so that's all in, the doors in. From this point forward, I might just kind of show you snippets of how I'm setting my shop up, because I know a lot of people are interested in different ways of setting up a shop based on workflow. Not everything that everybody makes is the same, and so your shop is always going to be set up a little bit different based on what your priorities are as far as equipment, space for moving materials around because of the type of material you're using. So once I get everything set up, I'll do a little shop walkthrough, and I'll kind of show you what I got going on and why. But for now, that's pretty much it for the shop build. I think it's done. I now have an official door to close off. All my windows are in. I still got to replace that one there. It was used when I got it, and it had a small crack. And as soon as I started putting the trim on, the window just started cracking and continued to break. So I have it taped up for now. We've already got another one potentially that from other people I've been talking to, because we like to trade and barter a lot. So I might just go do a little roof repair in order to get another window. If the barter falls through, I don't know what I'm looking at yet for the window. I haven't seen it yet. But if that falls through, I'll probably just get a really good piece of polycarbonate for that, and just take that one out from the inside. I have it pinned in on the inside, and put a decent piece of polycarbonate in there. It's on the shady side of the building, so I don't have to worry about UV exposure and whatnot, except for like over time. So it might get grayed out in 10 years, but I don't really care, because we're literally in 3 years, this is no longer going to be a shop. It's going to be a goat barn. So it is what it is. So I thank you for watching this entire 14 episodes, I think 15 episodes altogether it took me to build this. It's been about almost 3 months in its entirety, from start to finish, from logging to doing all of the beams and getting the slab done and so on and so forth. The entire building and process has been about 3 months. So by myself, it took me 3 months from scratch to build this 12 by 16 by 12, nice and tall, shop. And I'm going to run with it from here on out. So I thank you for watching. And if you have any questions or comments, just leave them down below, and I'll try to get to them if I can. So thank you.